Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the last QB kickoff. I don't even know I still don't know what we call this thing, but pregame live stream. Here back with me is Matt Dean, my host. Week 17, boy, I hope most of you played your championships in week 16 because it is rough this week. But Matt, how are you doing? Are you sick of NFL football yet, or how are you feeling about fantasy right now?
Well, fantasy, I'm all done. So, won one championship, didn't make the playoffs in another league, but Cowboys have a chance to make playoffs today. So I'm rooting for the Eagles for once.
Yeah, and we're not going to go too in depth with injuries today. Today's going to be more just a laid back kind of stream. We'll help those with lineup advice that need it. Since it is week 17 and everything, there's probably a lot of people not playing anymore. But for those that have a league that is in the Stone Age, we're here for you. But there's like 3 pages of I know Schefter had like 3 different tweets last night of players out, and it's a lot of big names. Just off the top for the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, those 3 are out. Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Dalvin Cook, Kenny Golladay, and Julio Jones. I mean, those are just a few, and there's a lot. Even for the Rams, like Jared Goff is out. So, if you want to hit us up for lineup advice, feel free. But other than that, it's pretty much just a overall end of year wrap up here. Talk about fantasy football in general, and yeah. So, anything on your mind, Matthew?
Well, I'm interested to see how the Minnesota backfield plays out because, last year in week 16, when I think Madison and Dalvin Cook were both out, Mike Boone, everybody was predicting for a huge day, including myself, and he lost people a lot of money last year. So I'm interested to see, for those that are still in, if Alexander Madison actually does have a big game today, or if it's another smoke screen. We'll see, I guess. But Dalvin Cook's not playing. I think it was his dad that passed away, and so Madison's projected to get all the work he can get. So we'll see there. But other than that, just looking at playoff pictures, there's a lot out there. I mean, the Packers are playing for a first round bye. I don't know if the Bills, I think, are playing either for a 2 or a 3 seed, depending on, was it the Bills? I don't know. Could be wrong there. And then
I think it was the Bills. I think if the Steelers lose and the Bills win, or I forget. No, that's not right because Big Ben's sitting. So let me look at the playoff picture.
But I know that, a lot of the teams like Ravens, Browns, there's like a pack of 5 teams there that are all playing for a few playoff spots. So a good team's going to get left out. And then, unfortunately, the NFC East, a losing record team, is going to get in the playoffs. So,
well, yeah, the Chiefs have the 1 seed locked up, so it's between the Bills and the Steelers. Bills are 12-3, Steelers are 12-3, but the Bills currently hold the 2nd seed. So, if Steelers lose, or I guess Bills win and Steelers win, Bills would still be 2nd seed, I believe. Because they have the same record right now. So,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Browns, don't mess this up. Browns are right there. If they win, they're in.
I know, man. It's interesting. I'm also interested to see, it's interesting always to think, how long our starter's going to play. I know, like, for example, Tampa Bay, they said Brady's going to start, but I don't know that he'll play that long. Last week he played a half and had like 370 yards, but
yeah.
Falcons defense, though, I mean, as you can attest to, they've actually been a lot better in the second half, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, they went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs last week and then literally lost it on the toe of Young Waku. So, it helps their draft pick, so I'm happy about that. But I was also happy to see that they could go, with the Chiefs and give a competitive game.
Do you see? We can talk a little bit about some playoff pictures. I mean, Green Bay, I think if they win, they lock up the first round bye, I believe. So, do you expect like all the stars to show out in that one? Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Tanyan, I guess, your favorite tight end.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae Adams him and Rodgers for sure. And, A.J. Dillon got a lot more involved last week. He kind of cost me in 2 leagues. Had Aaron Jones, gotten all the work that A.J. Dillon did last week, I would have been a different story for me. But looks like they really want to establish the power run game here late in the season with A.J. Dillon, and then use Aaron Jones sparingly. So, yeah, I mean, we were talking about the AFC picture. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams at 10-5, which are the Colts, Browns, Ravens, Dolphins, Titans. So it could get wild today with the playoff scenarios, I guess, in the AFC.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more fantasy relevant players available this week than there is most years. Which is good for those that are still playing. We debated doing DFS this week. I think we decided against it, I guess, but
that really, I mean, the NFC only has the Rams are 9-6, Bears 8-7, Cards 8-7. So, and then you got the Cowboys trying to play for the division title at 6-9, which is it's just awful.
Yeah, are the Cardinals? I was trying to find it. Are they locked in or
no? They're on the according to the NFL.com one I'm looking at, it showing that they're outside the. They're sitting on the 8. They're sitting at the 18. How many get in this year? 7.
Well, it says they can earn a wild card spot here. Let me see what what it'll take.
Because didn't they had a team in both divisions or both conferences?
Yeah, so I think they need to get to the 7th seed. So the Cardinals need to beat the Rams. So if they beat the Rams, they're in. They could tie the Rams, and the Bears would have to lose. So that's the only 2 options there. So I'm guessing Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins will be hooking up early and often today.
Ben Brown said Trump.
We're not going to talk about the Giants possibly winning the division, though, because they're playing America's team. So,
the Giants, I mean, their offense is pretty bad, but their defense was playing pretty good football there for a while. And I guess Joe Judge has turned out all right as their head coach. Speaking of a little coaching rumors, Urban Meyer to the Jaguars is apparently gaining a ton of traction. Nothing official yet, but I've seen several big names. Cowherd was talking about it. I know Bleacher Reports had a thing about it yesterday. Be wild to see Urban Meyer in the NFL realm, especially being out of coaching for a few years.
Yeah. Usually, I know someone in our group text said that, college doesn't usually translate to NFL. But I mean, I think it's a case-by-case basis. He's been out of coaching for so long now, it seems like. Maybe it could work out, but I mean, pairing up, I'm guessing it's going to be Trevor Lawrence with a high caliber coach is going to be, pretty essential. We saw Cliff Kingsbury with Kyler Murray seems to be a good pairing there. Trevor Lawrence is probably the best quarterback prospect we've seen in a long time. Colin Cowherd seems to think that he's the best college quarterback of all time, but I don't know if that's the case. Could be. I think he's lost like 2 games in his entire college career. So the national championship yesterday.
He also thought Adam Gase and Sam Darnold was going to win a Super Bowl by now.
Yeah. I did see that he tweeted, or it was 2019. He was like, "Where can I get my AFC Championship tickets or whatever it was?"
They have I think Northwestern's coach is drawing some interest from the NFL too. I saw earlier. Said he would entertain NFL interviews. Trying to find that where I saw that, but can't seem to find it.
I think the Vikings have been eliminated here. So I guess they're just going out there to have fun today.
Do we see Dwayne Haskins on another football team? That's the question.
No. Maybe. I don't know. He said people made a mistake when they passed on him, but I guess they didn't. He seems like another he was a less touted Jamarcus Russell, So here's all the teams that have clinched. We have Tampa Bay, Seattle, Pittsburgh, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Bills. Some of those teams are playing for better seeds and things like that. But these are the fantasy players you want on your team. People from the Cardinals, the Ravens, the Bears, the Browns, the Cowboys. Well, maybe not the Cowboys, just because they kind of stink. The Colts, the Rams, the Dolphins. Dolphins could make playoffs. Interesting. Giants and the Titans and the Washington football team. Let me look at that Miami. So it looks like let's see. So if the Dolphins win, I believe they make playoffs. They make the wild card, yeah. And if the Dolphins lose, they still have a good chance at making the playoffs. I think the Steelers, though, would have to beat the Browns, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Steelers would have to beat them, and I think the Bills would have to lose.
Well, their Dolphins are playing the Bills.
Okay.
But if the Browns beat the Steelers, it's interesting to me that, the Steelers are sitting most of their players. Okay, so the Steelers can lose. Basically, what needs to happen is the Jags need to beat the Colts. That's the main thing.
Which I don't think they're going to have any desire to do.
Yeah. So if the Dolphins beat the Bills, then it doesn't matter what else happens. They're making the playoffs. If the Dolphins don't beat the Bills, they need the Jags to win or the Steelers to win. And I don't know that either of those. I don't know that the Steelers can't beat anybody with their starters right now. So I don't think they're beating the Browns without their starters.
Yeah, we say that, but it's the Browns. So
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
That COVID instance, the contact tracing stuff last week really messed the Browns up.
Yeah, it's basically a dud week, and you can't really, look too much into it just because. I mean, who was their starting receiver? Like Marvin Hall?
Was Baker only had like him, and the Hooper and is it Bailey? Is that his last name? Bryant. Harrison Bryant, is that his name? He had his 2 tight ends and basically one receiver out there throwing to, so couldn't get it done against the Jets. The Jets have screwed themselves out of the first pick, so typical Jets. Ben Brown says the Browns always find a way to miss playoffs in miserable fashion. So yeah, I can see it happening.
Who's your who do you think finishes number 1 fantasy player today? Think Devontae Adams is a good bet?
Probably Josh Allen. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean Devontae Adams. Who else is up there? Dalvin Cook's sitting, so I mean, what's Kamara at? He's got to be close, right?
Yeah, but I mean, well, Kamara's out, so
yeah.
Oh, I was saying this week. Sorry.
Oh, for this week. Okay. Yeah, I mean Devontae Adams definitely has a chance. Let me look at the old DraftKings here. Haven't looked at NFL DraftKings in a while. Been doing too much NBA.
Yeah, losing battle for us.
Who are the top running backs? I mean, Derrick Henry against Houston he could go off.
Do the Bears, they already clinched? No, they're still fighting for a playoff spot. So I could see David Montgomery as well. But because the Bears need to win to control their own destiny here.
Yeah, I think it's either Adams or Derrick Henry, I would have to say.
Because if the Packers beat the Bears, Rams have to beat the Cardinals in order for the Bears to still make playoffs.
Jonathan Taylor against Jacksonville.
Yeah. Alexander Madison against Detroit should be, but that's tough to count on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that one week he was supposed to start, he didn't do too good, did he?
No. I think he's had like 5 fantasy points. But top receiver, I mean, you have to give that to Devontae Adams, I would imagine. But I'm just hoping the Cowboys win. I don't think the Falcons, do they have anything to play for as far as draft positioning goes?
I think they're fighting with the Dolphins. Let me look. Because right now, yeah, Jaguars locked in, Jets, Falcons, and then Dolphins. Okay, so ESPN has the draft order as Falcons at number 3, but I saw another one that had the Dolphins at number 3, so I don't know. Technically, we're 3rd, I guess, but Dolphins are also 4-11. Or no, it's the Texans' pick, but to the Dolphins, so it's based on their record. So Houston's also 4-11. I don't know what the tiebreaker there is because we didn't play the Texans this year.
Yeah. Who are you hoping for as far as Falcons draft goes? Or what are you hoping for?
Well, I mean, do we assume Lawrence is going first and Fields going second? Or, I mean,
yeah.
Do the Jets trade that pick and keep Darnold? Do they trade Darnold? I mean,
yeah, I just don't see them keep holding on to Darnold. But then again, Adam Gase is still there, and you never know what could happen, I guess. So
my thoughts are, I mean, if both those quarterbacks go, and then the Falcons, I mean, the Falcons are 4-11, but I mean, do they look like a 4-11 team? Week in and week out. I mean, I know I'm biased, but they really, to me, are not this bad. I mean, you saw them almost beat, well, at least tie the Chiefs last week, who are the best team in the NFL. I mean, I think they get the right coach and the right OC in there. They still can make one more run while Julio and Ryan are. I mean, I think there's two approaches you can take. You can take, the quarterback if one happens to still be there. You could take Zach Wilson, but I don't know if you want to take him at 3 or not, or Trey Lance. So you could go that route, trade Matt Ryan and Julio, and then just completely tear it down, start over, or go with what you got, trade out of the 3 spot for a massive haul and just fill in your depth positions, which I think is probably what they'll end up doing, but who knows? And then also, how do you pass on, if Trevor Lawrence and Fields go, how do you pass on Devontae Smith? Not like the Falcons need another receiver, but, another Alabama receiver for the Falcons, that'd be – you'd have Julio, Calvin, and Devontae Smith. You'd probably end up having to trade Julio, as much as I don't want that to happen. But
well, I'm guessing you heard all the rumors going around this past week of Julio.
That he's available?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you pay into that or not, or buy into that.
I mean, he's – he gets injured pretty often. He kind of has his whole career, and he's older and he carries a ton of, cap space he's taken up. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, and then Ryan's the same way. Most of these teams that are successful, I talked about it with Eric last week. It's like you get a good quarterback, you get a young quarterback. You don't have to pay him for a while, and then pay everyone else. Then that's the winning recipe. But we're paying Matt Ryan and Julio so much. You got a lot of young people, a lot of young players on the defense. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting draft for sure. I don't see how Fields and Lawrence don't go 1 and 2.
No, I don't see a case for that. Pull up the NFL month.
I mean, there's a lot of people coming out saying that Fields should go number 1. Do you agree with that?
No. I mean, if you just look at the whole body of work, I don't think.
I don't either, but
Trevor Lawrence, first of all, I mean, like, I don't think you can judge him off one game, especially when it's like, yeah, he didn't play great, but to me, he almost looked, I don't know if you want to say kind of disinterested, but he just seemed kind of over it, ready to move on. I think, I watched an old commercial from Nick Saban that he's like, do you ever get tired of winning? And it's like, Trevor Lawrence had up to that point like one loss in his entire, I think he didn't lose any in high school. So, and in his post-game press conference, he really didn't seem like that torn up about it. I mean, he's about to go on and make millions, so.
Well, he hasn't even officially declared for the draft, I don't think.
Yeah. But also we haven't seen Justin Fields face Alabama, and that could halt all
I don't know how Lawrence looked that bad against the Big Ten defense. I mean, I know it's Ohio State, but
yeah, there's still some people that think Zach Wilson's better than Justin Fields, although I wouldn't. At this point, I think Justin Fields is firmly ahead of Zach Wilson. Right now, this mock I'm looking at has the Falcons taking Witty Pay out of Michigan, edge rusher. So, who knows? They don't actually have they have Jamar Chase being the first wide receiver taken. And they have Devonta Smith all the way down at 14, but I just don't see
I don't see Devon. He's not getting out of the top 5. I don't
see that. It was interesting. This is like literally updated like last night. So whoever that rider is, don't follow them.
Yeah, see, so Tankathon, which is an app that we use a good bit for like draft order and all that, mock drafts to see. It's got Atlanta at the 4th spot, so I don't know why ESPN and them have 2 different. CBS has Trevor Lawrence, number 1 prospect. Penei Sewell, the lineman out of Oregon, is 2. Micah Parsons, linebacker, 3rd, and Justin Fields, 4th. And Kwity Paye is 7th, and Zach Wilson 6th. Yeah, how do people have Devontae Smith? They've got Jamar Chase above Devontae Smith also.
Well, Jamar Chase was higher regarded than even Justin Jefferson last year in that receiving corps. So I think I'd have to look up his stats from this year, but I mean, I don't see anyone.
This one has Kyle Pitts at 6th.
I mean, Jamar Chase is the more NFL style quarterback. I mean, wide receiver. He's I think just a bigger body, but I mean Devonta Smith's 6'1". I need to look up Jamar Chase. Well, Jamar Chase is 6 foot, so that didn't really help anything. But I mean, last year with Joe Burrow, basically Cincinnati pairing Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, I think, is what they're wanting to happen. Because I mean, Jamar Chase was his wide receiver there, and he would. I mean, with Joe Burrow, he had 84 catches for almost 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. And I guess he didn't actually play this year, did he? Jamar Chase. So, I mean, he'll be ready to go, I'm sure. So, I think that's probably the case for it. One, he caught 20 touchdowns and almost 2,000 yards from Joe Burrow in college. And 2, you know, he's been regarded as a top 10 guy for a long time now. So right now, Walter Football has Devonta Smith going to the Giants, which could be interesting, but I don't know how long they give Daniel Jones there either in New York. He's been up and down for sure. I can see Kyle Pitts being a steal. Micah Parsons has fallen, but he was like a top 5 guy last year, everyone thought. So, be an interesting draft. Patriots getting Zach Wilson would be interesting.
I'm still a believer in Sam Darnold. I don't know if I should be, but so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you get a different coach in there, man.
Well, I think if they trade him away and take Fields or Lawrence, he could be successful somewhere. That's going to affect a ton of all this, because the Jets could either take one of those guys or trade. I don't think the Jags will move out of that spot. And I don't think anyone really cares about Gardner Minshew or not, but do they trade him? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody'd pay for him. I mean, he's a good story, but I wonder if anybody drafted him number 1 for that free case of Bud Lights and won their league.
I'm excited for the NFL playoffs, but I mean, with the Falcons out and fantasy over, my interest in the NFL kind of wanes a little bit.
Yeah, I'm already looking forward to baseball at this point, especially being week 17. It's definitely more difficult. I didn't expect us to have a ton of lineup advice because most people are done by now because the smart commissioners know that week 17 is the danger zone. But some leagues still do, especially leagues that have 2-week playoffs. I'd say that's more common for people to have week 17 involved, but
there's always the playoff fantasy that you can do where you draft. Do you draft a team in that? I can't remember. It's been a minute since I've done one. But basically, like, you each have players from playoff teams, and then like once they're eliminated, you don't get any more points for them or whatever. You get points for the players still left.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would be interested in doing one of those. Honestly, I don't know if anybody else would in our league, but
I was trying to see the projected draft order here to see if there's any other. The thing I'm most interested in looking at is if people are going to throw games against. It's kind of like the conundrum you have in a fantasy football league if you're like we did, and if your draft spot's affected by your record for the next year. Do teams throw games against on the bubble playoff teams that didn't hurt teams in contention? So like for example, Falcons or Bengals. I don't think the Bengals have to really try to throw games. I think that's just how it goes these days. Did you see? Oh, I wanted to mention the quarterback for what's his name? The guy that's starting for the Rams.
I can't remember his name.
He was like a financial advisor, or an analyst last year.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Here, I'm gonna pull it up right now.
It's gonna be like Kurt Warner when he was selling insurance.
It's John Wolford.
Yeah, that's right.
I think he was in the AAF like last year, and his day job was a financial analyst. He said, who knows if this goes well, maybe he can delete his LinkedIn. So, because right now his LinkedIn says Los Angeles Rams quarterback. You think Aaron Rodgers has the MVP locked up?
I don't know. There was somebody earlier comparing the numbers of Josh Allen and him today, and they were like, "Why is everyone saying Aaron Rodgers is MVP?"
Yeah, his touchdowns and interceptions are pretty impressive. Up until just last week, it was, all Patrick Mahomes. But Mahomes is sitting this week, isn't he?
No, he's playing.
Oh, just all of his skill players are sitting.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him.
I don't really see the point of Mahomes playing if he doesn't have around him.
I don't see him being in there too long.
Yeah,
trying to look at what's a good playoff fantasy app to use. When we did it, we used some site I've never used before. I bet Sleeper might have. I know NFL.com does like a playoff challenge thing, but it's not the same as you drafting a team and stuff, I don't believe.
I'm interested to see. I think, honestly, one of the best games of the day is going to be the Arizona at LA, but I don't know with LA's quarterback if they'll be able to keep up. But Arizona's been so up and down. Kyler Murray is going to be without why am I blanking on his name? Possibly without Larry Fitzgerald, but Christian Kirk's on the COVID list, so he's for sure without Christian Kirk. I'm sad I'll have to wait till 7:20 or 8:20 your time, I guess, to watch that Washington and Philly game to see if Cowboys have a chance if we beat the Giants. But yeah, I don't really see Indy losing to Jacksonville. I don't really see. I don't know about the Arizona game. I guess I see Arizona winning just because of the quarterback situation.
True.
Lions don't really have anything to play for, but it looks like Stafford's still going to play, even though he basically has 3 injury designations. So
Well, I believe if there's no anyone seeking lineup advice or anything, may just go ahead and call it a stream.
yeah, I didn't expect there to be, but I did want to talk about playoff scenarios because I think that's the biggest factor when it comes to who's available, who's not on a Week 17 Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I'm on that new app here, that Jock Market app. I'm trying to figure out any players I want to buy into here before the kickoff happens. Aaron Jones seems like a good value.
I'd go him or Derrick Henry.
Well, Derrick Henry's basically priced at his ceiling, so. But people got him pretty cheap.
Might we go AJ Dillon the way he ran last week?
Yeah, they only actually. So the way this goes is they only do the top 80 projected players, and then their payouts are based on how they finish for the week. So like right now, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams are top 5 projected. Russell Wilson 6th. I don't know if Russell Wilson, if he's going to play the whole game. I know. I'm guessing he will. Although who plays? Yeah, they play the same time as the Packers. I think the Packers and the Saints have to lose, and the Seahawks win. I think the Seahawks would get the 1 seed. Like they would get the bye if the Seahawks win and the Packers and the New Orleans loses. I could see the Packers losing. I don't really see New Orleans losing to Carolina, but I mean, who's starting running back for the Saints?
Taysom Hill, I guess, because aren't they without every running back?
I thought they had Ty Montgomery available.
I don't know. I read that none of them were available, but I didn't see his name in there. I just saw it said Saints without any running backs.
People buying John Wolford for $5. I don't know about that.
I would expect Taysom Hill to run quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, he's not an option here. But I'm thinking about buying into Russell Wilson here because they have a lot to play for. And San Francisco's defense is pretty good, I guess, but Kyler Murray's a little cheaper, but they play the Rams, and their defense is better than the 49ers.
crazy. Alex Smith had 17 surgeries, was told he'd probably never walk again, and tonight he's playing for a division.
Yeah, that's wild.
He's easily got to be the comeback player of the year.
Yeah. Man, I'm baiting buying into Aaron Jones, but God, he's been so inconsistent. Maybe I'll put in a bid on him here and see if I can pull him a little cheaper. I think it still gives the guy the bottom profit.
Well, I'm starving, and it seems we don't have anyone trickling in here for a line of advice, so I guess we'll go ahead and call it a season.
All right, well, it's been fun. Let's hope the Cowboys. I don't know if I want the Cowboys to pull it out or just get a worse draft spot, honestly. But
even a better draft spot.
I didn't even watch the game last week. I've been so hurt by their antics. So now they're giving me false hope.
We appreciate everyone, who come by to watch week to week, and everyone who supports the site and reads our content. Sit start is a huge part of what we do. Matt and I have been doing that for a few years now, and we have a really awesome team doing that, and just a really awesome staff overall at QB List, and really excited for next year and what this growth, potential growth next year can vault us to. Just amazing, like year over year growth for sure with QB List. And I think on opening week we had, what was it? How many hundreds of thousands views that first day? I mean,
yeah,
it's just crazy to see. We already have our very successful sister site, Picture List, and now we're starting to see some of that success and growth. So really excited to go into the future with these guys, and hope you'll come back next season, and we'll still have a few more. I'm not sure how many more articles we got for this season left, but there might be some draft stuff and everything we do. So, and we've done end of season. We did an end of season awards article one year. I don't know. I might try to put that together. Not sure. But anything you got to say, Matt?
No, man. Just glad we made it through. I remember week 1, 2, and 3, we were like hitting the red button. We're concerned with all the COVID news and everything, and we made it through. Hopefully, vaccines are on the way, and whether whichever side of the coin you fall on there, but I just hope it leads to us being able to get back to normal life soon, especially in the sporting world.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a while there where y'all told me there wouldn't be any sports at all and any football whatsoever. But I'm glad we got through it. And there were a few times the NFL probably shouldn't have done it, shouldn't have tried to plow through it like they did, but they did. And luckily, everyone recovered from their diagnosis and stuff as far as the players go. So, but yeah, hopefully we'll get back to something close to normal next year, and I'll have another great fantasy season. So, thank you guys. Give us a follow at the QB List. That's our main account for QBList.com. Then you can give me a follow at Ray_DUR. And then Matt's is at Matt Dean QB List. So give us a follow on there. Keep up with us. Give a follow to our YouTube page. And we'll see you next season.
All right, man. Been fun.